Yes. Yeah. No, 'cause that's right. And what I would also say is more than anything, what you need is a plan. You've got to figure out how am I going to get there? You know, the fact that companies changed it, to go back to General Electric, they were a great stock to own, then they became a terrible stock to own. You know, that you, in my opinion, and I'm biased, I'm in the industry, you should have somebody figuring that out for you. You should be enjoying your life. But what you should be trying to figure out is it worth it to work another 2 years? How am I going to pay if we need, do I still need my life insurance? Do I still need this? You have to have a plan. You absolutely have to. And you need people that are great at it. People that work with me, I don't sit there and tell them to buy Coke or sell Pepsi. I work with two outstanding equity stock market managers, and we make a match and we go from there. And what I work with people on is their plan. And you've got people who can tell you, should I buy Coke and sell Pepsi? Should I still buy Apple? Should I still buy Facebook stock, et cetera? And doing it yourself is really hard to do a really good job, because there are so many variables and things change quickly.
Well,
and the other thing that changes, and we hate this, but it's the guy looking back at us in the mirror. He changes.
Yeah. Oh, yes, he does. His or her needs, desires, and goals change as they get older and as things progress. I like to use the scenario because again, once upon a time, I did my own investing. I don't do that anymore because I don't know how to do that. I don't understand it to the point where I'm willing to risk my future. I have folks that do that. Kind of like I liken it to having a car. In the 1970s, I did my own investing. Didn't have much, but it was kind of easy. Just like working on your own car in the 70s was kind of easy. Nowadays, I change my own oil. I rotate my tires. I think I did brakes one time, but that's about. I think I changed a windshield washing fluid pump recently, but I don't do any of the other stuff because they're too complex. Perfect example. I had a person say, you know what? I think I'm going to buy GE stock. I said, why would you want to do that? And I wasn't being ignorant. I was asking a question. They said, well, because of the appliances. I read where GE appliances are just going through the roof. So I'm going to buy GE. Yeah. And I said, General Electric does not own General Electric appliances. Those are owned by a Chinese company called Haier. And they looked at me like I had two heads. So he was going to invest money in something that the company he was going to invest in didn't even own.
Right. Right. And he made that because one of the very basic, very old school, and still has some relevancy, is invest in things that you know about. Mm-hmm. Well, he thought he knew about that. You can go and buy GE appliance a lot of places. They're pretty good appliances.
Yeah, they are.
But they're not owned by General Electric. Oh, they're not, and they haven't been for a little while.
That's true. That's true. And I just know that because I read an article. Okay, and I read more than most people, and I wouldn't expect people to read as much as I do. They do other things. But that's why you hire somebody like you to do that kind of stuff, because you know that. That's why you hire somebody to work on your car, because they understand the car. You don't. The world has gotten more complex. I will say that. It's more difficult. But the average Joe can still invest properly and have enough money so that when they hit the golden years, they can go ahead and retire. I had a guy, and this was one of the last, I won't call it an argument, I'll call it a discussion that I had on Facebook. I had mentioned how the market was doing real well. It pays to invest. The average guy can do this. And this fellow just lashed out at me. Well, this is for the fat cats and the big people. The little guy has no chance. Right. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, I did. And I was a little guy. I said, well, no, you're not a little guy anymore. Don't you fool me. I'm talking about the people who just can't. I said, why don't you buy stocks? And his answer, his answer was golden. He said, well, I do have them, but I'm talking about those other people. And I said, what makes you mean the stupid people, the people that aren't nearly as smart as you, the morons? Come on, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and because the world's changing, and you have to continue to learn. The people that are winning in this world that I see are continuous learners, people that adapt to changing circumstances, people that see circumstances starting to change and they try to get ahead of it. And a lot of times they do. People that are willing to accept that what I thought was true 20 or 30 years ago just isn't the same anymore.
Well, a perfect example is what happened this week. I mean, I read the Wall Street Journal every morning. I consider myself, as far as an average person goes, fairly plugged in. And Kieran, I have tried my best to understand this thing that happened this week with Robinhood and GameStop.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah.
What
yep.
Can you shed some light on that? Or is this just going down a rabbit hole?
It's probably going down a rabbit hole, but here's the thing. You've got a group of people that organize who don't know each other but are able to organize through a website, through a common interest of supposedly investing and taking a stand at where other people that are looking at it from a practical point are betting down, and these people are bucking the trend, and you could not have done that 10 years ago. You certainly could have not done it 20 years ago. The world is changing.
Yeah, but again, short selling, hedge fund investors, those aren't things that the average Joe should even be involved in anyway, or am I wrong?
You're 100% correct. That is 100% correct. Yes, they should not be.
Yeah, because when you get involved in that kind of stuff, your potential for hitting a home run is great, but your potential for striking out is just as great. So
it's just as great, and you probably can't take the loss. You probably don't understand quite how it works. You don't, there's more the downside's going to hurt you more than the upside's going to help you.
Yeah.
The worst thing that can happen to somebody in that situation typically is that they try something high risk and it works. Then they think it works all the time. Well, if you dug in on an MLB picture and you're just a worker and you're 30 years old, and for whatever reason, that first pitch you hit at 400 feet, you're probably still never going to play MLB because you're probably striking out the next 35 times in a row.
That's right. That's right. And if somebody says, well, I read the story about a guy who took $100,000 and invested in GameStop, and that turned that $100,000 into $10 million. He's great now. Okay, yeah. but how many of them lost their principal and their $100,000 turned into $100? Okay,
there was a story out there with that strong that this young guy, I think his early 20s, he put $6,000 into it. It went to $280,000, and he forgot to say a 4-letter word.
Sell.
To say sell. Because if you've got $6,000 and that was all he had was $6,000, and you turned it into 280, you got so lucky. Great for you. I guarantee you, he really doesn't understand how it happened. Well, what happened? He didn't sell, and where'd it go? Did it go back to $6,000? No, it went to 0.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And people who don't understand this stuff shouldn't be involved in it. I have had countless people contact me wanting me to invest in their new cryptocurrency. Okay. Yeah. And I just tell them, look, I don't understand cryptocurrency. I'm not going to invest in that. They said, well, let me explain it to you. I said, no, thank you. I don't want to, well, the US dollar is just fiat currency as well. I said, well, stop it.
Right.
I don't understand it. I'm not going to invest in it.
Yeah. And the chance that guy calling you was the equivalent of Henry Ford in 1905, and he's getting ready to come out with this thing called a Model T, virtually 0.
Yep.
So,
yep.
No, for the average person, it's still pretty boring. But yeah, you're right. They have access. So if you go back, if you wanted to buy a mutual fund, if you wanted to buy stocks, when you were starting out, it was expensive. Now you can buy stocks for free you don't have to go to you can do it through Charles Schwab.
Mm-hmm.
You do it through you do it through a big company.
Well, we've just lost Kieran. Let's call him back real quick. That's okay. We'll do this live.
I am back.
Okay. Okay. So you were talking about Charles Schwab.
Yeah. So that's access to the investor. So the little guy who should own stocks, not only will Charles Schwab educate you and you can buy stocks for free, there are more resources than ever. It's not about becoming wealthy. It's about your money serving you. It's about having some sense of financial security. And if that comes in at whatever level it is, that's fine. But if you think you can't do it, you're wrong, but does it take some discipline? How often did you put money away? Every check you put money away, that takes discipline.
It's something that anybody can do. I will tell you that many people are puzzled. They don't understand. They're confused, and rightfully so, because it's a different business than most people are aware of. So let me ask the question of the listeners that are out there who maybe their interest has been piqued. Maybe they want to do something with their life. Maybe they'd like to not work until they're 75 years old. How can they get in contact with you, and how can you help them?
Sure. For any James Strong Show listener, I will absolutely talk to you. If you think, or if I don't have any money, I just want to talk to somebody. If you're a James Strong Show listener, I will absolutely speak with you. So call me. My office number is 314-254-2411. My website is Planning with Kieran, and Kieran is Kieran, planningwithkieran.com. My office is in St. Louis County. And if you call me and I'm available, I will take your call. Tell me you're a James Strong Show listener. If you have to leave a message, you're getting your call back. I call everybody back, but I will absolutely speak with any listener from the podcast.
So they have to have $1 million in the bank to talk to you then, right?
They just have to give me the $1 million and say Merry Christmas. No, they don't have to. It could be that, hey, this is what we've got. Or I'm a young person. I'm trying to figure out what should I do. Just call me. I'll have a conversation with you.
Free advice.
Most clients that I work with have 250,000. Almost all of them have 100. On the high end, they've got over 20 million. Mm-hmm. I will speak with anybody. It's part of what I'm asked to do and part of what my calling is. So I don't care if 100,000 to you sounds like 100 million, but you still want to talk to somebody, pick up the phone and call me. I'm smart, I'm honest, and I will have a conversation. And I will vouch for that too. Kieran, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor and try your best to stay warm in Milwaukee. And by the way, if you see their new second baseman wandering around, tell them hello. I know. That's our own Colton Wong who jumped ship. He jumped ship, and you know what? I get it. Those guys have X amount of window to make $1, and if your current employer doesn't want to pay him, he has an obligation to go make it. That's it, right? Our boy Colton Wong got paid, and good for him. I just hope he has a good year next year, except not when the Brewers play the Cardinals. That's exactly it. James, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. You bet, Kieran. Thank you very much. Take care. Take care. Bye now. Bye. Well, that's it. That's Kieran Gutting. PlanningWithKieran.com. PlanningWithKieran.com. He's a smart guy. He can help you out. Have a conversation with him. It won't cost you anything. He's a smart guy. Well, that's it. We're done. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. JamesStrongShow@hotmail.com. That's my email address. Go ahead and send me an email. I will send you a link to the podcast when it drops. You can download it and listen to it at your leisure. That's it. We're done. Until next time, this is James Strong saying adios.